What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, family? Hopefully you guys had an awesome break. I did have a much needed 4-day weekend, which I was very happy about. And now back to reality. Let's get into these NFL scores. So the Saints scored no points tonight. They were 0-13. You got the Bills beat the Lions 28-25. The Cowboys beat the Giants 28-20. The Vikings beat the Patriots 33-26. The Dolphins beat the Texans 30-15. The Bengals beat the Titans 20-16. The Panthers beat the Broncos 23-10. The Jets beat the Bears 31-10. The Commanders beat the Falcons 19-13. The Browns beat the Buccaneers 23-17. The Jaguars beat the Ravens 28-27. The Raiders beat the Seahawks 40-34. The Chargers beat the Cardinals 25-24. And the Chiefs beat the Rams 26-10. And then the Eagles beat the Packers 40-33. And the Steelers play tonight. So that was your football scores. There obviously has been a lot going on in the news these past days. Kim Kardashian finally released her statement on the whole Balenciaga scandal, since she is the face of Balenciaga. She finally issued her, just pretty much saying that she talked to them, and pretty much this is what she said. She says, "I've been quiet for the past few days, not because I haven't been disgusted and outraged by the recent Balenciaga campaigns, but because I wanted an opportunity to speak to their team and understand myself how this could happen." She appreciates their removal of the campaign and their apology. And speaking with them, I believe they understand the seriousness of the issue and will take necessary measures for this to never happen again. As for my future with Balenciaga, I'm currently reevaluating my relationship with the brand, basing it off of their willingness to accept accountability for something that should have never happened. To begin with, the actions I'm expecting to see is to protect children. A lot of people are not liking her apology at all. They're just saying Kim, these kids have been a part of these ads from all kind of crazy things. Here's actually a story on that. Listen to this.
You've been on top of this case. Can you just give us a brief rundown of what actually has taken place?
So last week, Balenciaga featured this campaign on their website as part of their Christmas campaign, which was actually targeting children. They're trying to market these teddy bears to children. The teddy bears were covered in bondage, BDSM gear. They had these padlocks around their neck. Very kind of sick stuff. That was not the only thing, though. If you zoom in closer to the pictures, there's actually so many details there. There's dates written on the wall. When you Google the top news stories of those days, it's referencing child predator court cases. There's also books and court documents being featured. There was a Supreme Court document featured under a handbag, which was referencing a Supreme Court case arguing for child porn to be legalized. So it's really, really shocking stuff. And then Balenciaga issued a statement apologizing, which really isn't enough. They were trying to blame the creative studio behind this shoot. But really, for these pictures to be on the Balenciaga website, it's a multi-billion-dollar company, has to be approved by the designer, the CEO, everyone at the top. So it's really shocking stuff.
And the photographer himself has come out to say, actually, I didn't get to select the products or the models. So Balenciaga know that their bondage teddy bear with black eyes and, as you say, bondage gear is going to be modelled by young, very, very young children. They knew that regardless of what direction the photographer took.
They're trying to blame the kind of creative agency. But, the photographer is obviously just hired to take the photos. But this photographer does specialize in kind of very unusual and weird pictures of children. I've seen pictures of kids on his Instagram page, and they've got toy guns surrounding them and stuff. Very kind of weird stuff. So it's not right. But yeah, Balenciaga's blaming the creative agency. They're now threatening them with a $25 million lawsuit. But really, the buck stops with Balenciaga. After they deleted all these child pictures, they apologized. They then posted more things online. There was a man holding a handbag. Behind them, there was a certificate on the wall. If you zoom into the name, you Google the name, it's actually a child predator that had a very big court case. So there's so many references to really shocking and dark stuff. And, you can't find all the results on Google, but if you go on Twitter and do some research, there's some kind of very kind of satanic and sick references in these pictures.
Absolutely. I looked myself. I saw the paperwork on the desk was a Supreme Court case about child pornography online. I saw that Balenciaga have also wiped their social media accounts, which yells to me, potential guilt. However, that one of the photo shoots was also a physically abused person, as in the person had black eyes and bruises and a Balenciaga hoodie and a Balenciaga teddy bear. It seems to me there's a very dark, evil undertone going behind this brand. Is this a manifestation of what's going on in the industry as a whole?
Well, firstly, Balenciaga, as a marketing tactic, they do wipe their Instagram quite often. It's one of their marketing and PR stunts. But yeah, there was also a picture of a woman with black eyes and clearly looked like they'd been abused and assaulted. That was the theme. They were trying to glorify that and glamorize it and trying to normalize it, just like the kids holding the bondage teddy bears. So I definitely think Balenciaga has very dark kind of things going on. And in 2016, one of the people that recruited all of the models for Balenciaga's runway show was a woman called Rachel Chandler, who has been on Jeffrey Epstein's island. She's even posted a picture on Instagram of CCTV footage back in 2013, bragging about being on the island. And if you look at her modeling agency, every single one of the models looks like a trafficking victim. You can see they've got very dark under the eyes. So people need to research that. But I think it's definitely the industry as a whole, because why isn't Kim Kardashian, who is the public face of this brand, why has she stayed silent? She's got 4 children. Why has she said nothing? Balenciaga quickly dropped Kanye for his tweets, and rightly so, because what he said was absolutely shocking. But why has Kim Kardashian stayed absolutely silent on this? She's the public face. She's getting paid millions of dollars to promote this brand. Why is she saying nothing for these kids?
That's a good question. I would wrap up by asking you, Ollie, which celebrities have come out and denounced Balenciaga?
Well, actually, good luck finding a celebrity to denounce this, because as you know, in Hollywood, the liberal elite, they don't like to talk about these things. They think it's, not something to talk about. They don't want to get cancelled. They don't want to get in the drama. So there's actually very few celebrities. Obviously, you have conservative people like Candace Owens has spoken out about it, yes. But very few Hollywood celebrities are speaking about this. Nicole Kidman is also a brand ambassador for the brand. Elizabeth Hubert, the French actress, they're all staying silent, which, says a lot.
Terrible. I'd love to see some of them speak out. Thank you very much, Ollie,
Thank you
for that.
So, and then here's also Kanye on why he says the stars are silent.
That can happen to someone like me. What's happening to all of America? What's happening to all the world? If you have an opinion, even if you speak up, there's so many people that they're working a regular job, and they know if they say anything to their manager, then they'll lose their position, they'll lose their job. Right. They tried to destroy me in press. They tried to destroy all of my businesses at the same time, and the world saw it, and no one's saying anything. As far as none of the celebrities, so this just shows you all celebrities are controlled. You don't see no celebrities talking about the Balenciaga situation, right? So that just shows you all of these celebrities out here, don't let them influence you in any way, because they're controlled by the people who really influence the world. There's no such thing as a celebrity influencer.
So, as much as we don't like believing in conspiracies, sometimes, when things like this happen, it makes you wonder. I mean, it doesn't make you wonder. You just have to know that there is some kind of evil era above our head that, us regular people, we see, we hear whispers about, and every now and then they try to normalize it or make us want to be a part of it. There is a storm expected in the south coming up. Let me see the name of it, if they've named it yet. It just says it's supposed to be on the lower Mississippi River, so brace yourself if you are in that area. China is still protesting the COVID lockdowns. Let's see what else is going on. NFL star Odell Beckham was kicked off a plane for refusing to put on his seatbelt. So he was acting like he was dejected. It's like, dude, put your seatbelt on. So he got kicked off the plane. Let's see what else happened. There's a lot of things that happened, but I've also a lot of stories to get into. So I don't want to cover too much news, even though there was a lot that happened over these past 4 days. Just scrolling through here to see if there's anything we want to talk about. More than 500 homes in Scottsdale, Arizona will run out of water by the year's end due to the drought. See what else is going on. Despite headlines of mass layoffs in corporate America and fears of recession, America and fears the cooling job market doesn't take heat off the holiday hiring spree. So they're still hiring, although the mass layoffs. The U.S. Soccer Federation briefly displayed Iran's national flag on social media without the emblem of the Islamic Republic, saying the move supported protesters in Iran ahead of the 2 days. So they were calling for them to be banned, but I guess they kind of got over it. Let's see what else is going on here. More than 1,300 flights were delayed due to the Thanksgiving travel rush. You could not pay me to fly around this time of year. I already have anxiety when I travel, and no. At Thanksgiving, Christmas, none of those holidays will you catch me on a plane. Let's see what else is going on. A judge in New Mexico and several of her pets were shot dead in what police believe was a murder-suicide carried out by the woman's husband, which is crazy and wild. Had to kill the pets too. Let's see what else is going on here. Vaping may increase a person's risk for cavities and tooth decay. Not shocking at all. The rail workers union are still split on the contract. They've been still trying to go on strike. Manatees that are dying by the hundreds, mainly from pollution, caused starvation in Florida, should once again be listed as endangered species. So manatees are dying off down there in Florida. Human neurons become part of the rat circuitry. Scientists hope the experiments with the human rat transplants will give them a better understanding of how genetic mutations influence brain circuits and human behavior. Interesting. Let's see here. Retailers like Walmart, Target, Amazon, and Best Buy are struggling with high inventory, and that is good news to holiday shoppers. So hopefully you guys got some good discounts that weekend, this weekend on Black Friday. Dr. Fauci gave his final message this week, and his last message was just to be precautious and maybe get COVID tested before you spend holiday time with family. So that was his farewell message to you guys. let's get into some stories. Why don't we?
You guys, I am shook. This morning I came across something that I had absolutely no idea existed. In 1994, we all know that O.J. Simpson went on trial for murder, and in 1995, he was acquitted. But then later, he was found civilly liable for her death. The reason for that is the difference in the burdens of proof. That's a whole nother video. Anyway, I heard a theory this morning that O.J. was not the murderer at all, that it may have been his son, Jason. And at first I was like, nah, but as I started listening to the evidence, it might be true. First of all, Jason had been recently diagnosed with intermittent rage disorder, which now would be known as intermittent explosive disorder, where he would just go off on these unpredictable rages and violent assaults. He was on probation for attacking one of his former girlfriends with a knife similar to the one that was used to kill Nicole Smith was found in his storage locker. Remember that the murder weapon was never found. He had stopped taking his medication for a couple months before the homicide happened. He was very vocal about how much he disliked his stepmom. Remember that OJ was still married to his mom when he started seeing Nicole. They found DNA at the crime scene that did not match OJ, but it did match one of his relatives, but they never tested it against Jason. They found DNA apparently under her fingernails that was never tested. It was never tested against Jason. So there are a number of factors here that are quite compelling. They also found a stocking cap at the crime scene. OJ didn't really wear stocking hats, but guess who did? His son. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, y'all. We'll have to see how it shakes out. I'm going to do a deep dive on it, and we'll see where we end up. Most importantly, the day after the killings, OJ hired a very prominent, well-known defense attorney, but not for himself. Yeah, he hired the defense attorney for his son. And his son wasn't even named as a suspect. I almost forgot to mention, the stocking cap that they found was covered in dog hair, and OJ doesn't have a dog, but you know who does? Jason.
The way she said Jason was creepy. I mean, I believe OJ did it. That's my popular opinion. Everybody believes OJ did it. But this is interesting. I mean, who really is kind of like, maybe one day it's like who shot JFK type of situation. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go to the next one.
Welcome back, everybody.
Let me go to the first article.
Come on in here because I do not have a lot of time today. This video is for our risk takers, those risky people who get into relationships or just relations with married people. Sit on down. It's time to talk. So this video is on how you can end up right in divorce court next to your lover, especially if their lawyer is mean. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't care what nobody does as long as they not messing with my husband. But today I have to care because of the phone call I got from my client. So in the meantime, since I think this is a great topic to discuss, I might as well talk about it with my favorite group of people. Y'all, I had a consultation earlier this week with a young lady, and it was fairly a normal divorce consultation, wanting to know her options, dividing assets. There's also a little baby, so child support and custody, etc. So she hired me, and I just been getting my documents together, getting myself situated to get started. And, we figured this would be more so on the amicable side of divorces. But boy, what a difference a day makes. So she calls me today in complete shambles, a complete wreck, what she thought was just two people who didn't get along anymore, that this was about to be a pretty clean divorce. Well, she just found out that not only has her husband been cheating, but there's been a baby produced. So that amicable divorce that we were planning for is no longer. We now have a fault divorce, and I have an entire video on here about fault versus no fault divorce. But today I specifically want to talk about adultery under fault divorce here in Texas. We're going to make this quick because I have a flight to catch. I'm going home. I'm from New Orleans, if you couldn't tell. So I'm talking to my client. I'm helping her through this very painful conversation. In the end, I just ask her, what do you want? Tell me. Tell me what Lauren needs to do to make it all better. In short, she wants this woman to face her. She wants this woman brought to court, She wants this woman questioned on the witness stand. She wants to hear all the answers her husband will not tell her. She wants this to be addressed in front of her husband. And then she wants me to put her husband on the witness stand and see what he has to say. So after she told me that, y'all know how I feel about my clients. Right, wrong, or indifferent, they are mine. And as long as they have the law office of Lauren, the lawyer, representing them, you know I'm going to handle my business. So this is what I'm going to do. And this is why I'm here warning you, the ones that this video is for. I'm warning you that this could be you, especially if they hire me. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to amend the divorce petition, change it to a fault divorce, and I'm going to add the mistress as a third party. She will be served, and then I will serve her with discovery, and I will subpoena her to come testify at any and every hearing I plan to have her there for. Now, as it goes for the husband, my client wants it all. The house, the car, the kids, the dog. And my plan is to get it for her. Now, I asked my client if she knew anything about this woman because I'm going to serve her. And she said, I found her on Facebook. And I know everything about her. So I said, okay, where is the easiest place for my process server to find her so we can get her served? She said, I know what church she go to. I said, not church. So my client wants this lady served at church on Sunday. And I'm like, pump your brakes. Legally, we cannot serve someone on a Sunday. My client knows that this lady is in the choir and they got rehearsal tomorrow. Well, I guess I'll have an update for you in a couple days because my client is adamant about serving this lady tomorrow at church, at choir practice. Lord forgive me. But until then, y'all please stay out of married people's beds. And I know that ain't none of my followers. I know this information is for you to tell somebody who knows somebody that need it. I know ain't none of y'all with this. Okay, now enjoy y'all weekend. I'll see y'all for part 2. Bye. Welcome back, everybody, for part 2. You missed me over the weekend? Well, good things come to those who wait. One thing that never fails us is this algorithm. I am so happy that you're back. Come on, bring it in. Hugs, hugs, hugs. Before we get down to the nitty and the gritty of part 2, while you're popping your popcorn, there's a couple things I want to clarify from part 1, especially some things I saw in the comments. Here in Texas, you do have the option to file for divorce under fault or no fault, and I have an entire video explaining the different grounds for fault that you can file under. However, here we do not have alienation of affection. Now, let's be clear. Adultery in and of itself, the court really doesn't care about people getting cheated on. Sorry, but it's the truth. You have to remember that your story is just one of thousands that the court hears about on a weekly or monthly basis about how their spouse was doing something they had no business doing. However, Texas is a community property state. So what the court cares about is when you spend community funds to fund your adulterous ways. Whatever money you were spending on hotels, vacations, gifts, whatever you were doing when you was doing what you had no business doing, that is what the court cares about. So all of that money that you spent, your spouse is entitled to ask the court to make you reimburse the community estate back for all the money you spent on your paramour. So that paramour gets served and subpoenaed for multiple reasons, not only to corroborate that the adultery took place, but also explaining how you was using community funds to do whatever it was y'all was doing. Now, in this situation, we already know that there's a baby, so there's a whole lot of funds and figuring out we're going to have to sort through. Now that we've got that out the way, let's get down to what happened at choir rehearsal. So my process server arrives to the church, and we usually like for him to have a photo of who he's serving to help him make his job a little bit easier. So he gets inside, and he's looking for, let's name her Peanut. So he's looking for Miss Peanut, looking for, can't find her. So he walks up to one of the members of the congregation and he says, hey, I'm looking for Peanut. Have you seen her? And the lady says, no, I haven't seen her, but ask her husband. He's standing right over there. So he turns around and he sees the husband standing there holding the baby that his wife produced with my client's husband. So my process server walks up to him, creates small talk, hey, cute kid, where's Peanut? And he says that she's in the bathroom pumping. So in the midst of my process server making small talk with her husband, she comes out the bathroom and starts walking towards them. So once she approaches, he immediately stops his conversation with husband and turns to her. Hi, are you Peanut? She says yes. He hands her the document, you've been served. And he skedaddles. Now he told me that he wanted to see if anything went down. So he got in his car and he parked a little bit away, but close enough to where he could still see the church. And he's out there looking. So he says about 10 minutes later, they come flying out of the church with some members behind them. They are yelling and screaming. The husband now has the papers in his hand, and he is yelling and fussing with her, and he's walking to the car. So husband throws the papers on the ground, gets in the car, leaves her outside of the church. She's standing there crying and carrying on, and some of the members is around her trying to console her, and it is a sight to see. So let's fast forward to this morning. I get to my office, and usually the first thing when I get there, my staff will let me know if there's anything important coming up, if there's any messages that were left for me that I need to return, etc. So as I'm sitting in my office, getting myself situated, getting my day started, I'm looking through the messages and calls that I need to return, and you're not going to believe who called my office and requested that I give them a call back. Say it with me. The husband. Now, I am a very busy lady. I actually have a hearing this afternoon that I need to go on ahead and start heading to, so I don't think I'll have time to call him back today, but I'll get to him, and I will see whatever it is that he wants. Welcome back, everybody, for part 3. I think this saga needs a name at this point. What should we call it? The Peanut Gallery. While you all were enjoying your turkey and dressing, I was hard at work. I felt as if I didn't have an update for you guys by the end of the week. Y'all were going to hunt me down. Now, even though I just saw you guys on Monday, there are multiple new developments in this saga. You know it's always something going on at the law office of Lauren the lawyer. But nonetheless, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Drop down in the comments and let us know what you are thankful for. And I'm thankful for this algorithm, for always sending you right back to me. But I know what you're here for, so let's get started. So today is definitely Black Friday because you came for one update, but I got 3 for you. 3 for 1. And yes, we do have an update on Peanut's husband calling my office, and I did call him back. And we are going to talk about it. But I got 2 more phone calls. Can you guess from who? Say it with me. Peanut and my client's husband. Now, this story has a lot of new moving parts, and I do think our 2 new fellas deserve a name. Now, we already know who the infamous Peanut is. I think we should name my client's husband Donut and Peanut's husband Coconut. So let's start off with the star of the show, Peanut. So Peanut called my office, and she had the nerve to be a little pissed. So she calls my office demanding answers as to why is she in it and what does their divorce have to do with her. So I politely say, well, Miss Peanut, did you read the documents? It tells you. So she's on the phone with her attitude, and she's like, well, what evidence do you have? Because I've already consulted with a lawyer, and they said that you have to prove that we had sex in order to accuse us of adultery, and blah, 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 bloop, blah, bloop. Now, this is the section of the video where I teach you a little something. Text messages are one of my favorite types of evidence to admit. Now, the rules of evidence is a whole semester in law school, so there's no time for me to talk about all that today. However, just know that the foundation that is needed to get that type of evidence in is one of my favorites because I find it pretty easy. So I pull up the text messages between her and my client's husband, and I start reading them to it. I was like, yeah, you remember on this day at this time you sent blah, 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 blah. Now, it's way too explicit for TikTok. Y'all are going to have to come to the hearing to hear that. So she's just sitting in silence, and I'm reading. And at the end, I was just like, that's why you're here. You remember? So she starts getting all loud and belligerent on the phone, and I was like, baby, listen here. I don't argue over the phone. I do that in court. And I'll see you there. Well, before she hangs up the phone, she yells, you're going to be hearing from my lawyer. I said, good, because you're going to need one. Let him know I said, good luck. So I think that went pretty well. And about 30 minutes later, I get a call from Donut. Now, since Donut is the actual opposing party in this case, I prefer to communicate via email, paper trail. So my office tells him to email me, and that's exactly what he does. And in that email, he says he does not want to go to court. He does not want to have a trial, and my client can have everything that she wants. Well, that's one hell of an offer, so my client has a lot to think about over the weekend, but let's get to Coconut. So I called Coconut back, and he's basically explaining how he read the documents that his wife was served with, and I was like, let me stop you here. Although I would love to give you clarity or provide you with whatever it is that you called my office for, there's a conflict of interest, and I can't talk to you. However, I can refer you to somebody that I think would be great. So I referred him to one of my trusted colleagues, somebody that I extremely admire and respect. Shout out to the law office of Ife Ononabu. And I gave him her contact information and I wished him well. So there you have it. The world of family law is always full of surprises. My client and Donut, well, their case might end here, and maybe Coconut's case is just beginning. I guess this is a to be continued. Side note, so you guys are always asking me about my nails in the comments, so I wanted to show them to you.
So yeah, this lawyer, so if you live in Texas, you can sue the side piece if they're using your funds. The more you know, guys, the more you know. Let's see. Let's get into another one.
The only reason why that is there is to be pleasured. And if you pleasure her, you will get whatever you want. I'm tired of men talking about what they want their wife to do, and their wife ain't had them since they got married. This man been nutting every time. Make that girl's leg shake. You can get pretty much whatever you want. But she has a button, you don't. It's there to be pleasured. You're supposed to pleasure your wife. That's what Sarah said when God said you're going to have pregnant. She said, should a woman my age, as old as me, experience pleasure? Do you know how many Christian married people have shame in their expression? Because what they were told leading up to their wedding day is that this is dirty, 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 dirty. And then on your wedding day, it's supposed to all of a sudden be clean? We got to stop lying to people. This is bomb. I'll start at 10. And then one of them said, I will return to you about this time next year, and your wife Sarah will have a son. Sarah was listening to this conversation from the tent. Abraham and Sarah were both very old by this time, and Sarah was long past the age of having children. So she laughed silently to herself and said, how could a worn-out woman like me enjoy such pleasure, especially when my master, my husband, is also so old? If y'all think she was just talking about a baby, stop playing.
So Genesis 18 and 12, you need to be pleasuring your wife. I love how everybody interprets the Bible differently, but hey, I ain't mad at it. Let's get into some scrotums while we're on this subject.
What is the most sensitive part of the penis? Generally speaking, the most sensitive part of the penis is the underside known as the frenulum. Because of this, licking or sucking this underside can provide immense pleasure when performing oral sex.
Remember that, ladies or gents.
So I just got diagnosed with vaginal stenosis. If you're confused, hi, I'm Zaya. I'm transgender. And like 8 months ago, I got bottom surgery or gender confirmation surgery. So I had a PP and now I have a vagina. And let me just preface this by saying I do not regret getting surgery. I do not regret it. So I don't want any of y'all conservative ass bitches to twist my words. I do not fucking regret surgery. However, I knew recovery was going to be hard, but nobody tells you that it could be this fucking hard. But yeah, I was diagnosed with vaginal stenosis, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically when scar tissue gets built up inside of the vaginal canal to the point where it's like extremely tight and uncomfortable. And the thing is, for the first year after getting bottom surgery, you have to dilate your vagina religiously because it's a brand new canal that needs to be kept open religiously for the first year. And now that I have this stenosis, I physically cannot dilate. My vagina still has depth, but it's so tight to the point that it could start to close and form pockets that could lead to infection, which means that I have to get another surgery. I basically just have to get the surgery all over again and get my vagina replaced. And like, it's just so fucking annoying. And it just sucks because my vagina has made me so happy, happier than I've ever been. I finally feel comfortable in my body. It's so pretty on the outside. It's just the inside of it that's all fucked up. And now I have to get an emergency revision surgery. I'm still waiting on the date. Hopefully it's soon. Yeah, I just wanted to come on here and be open and honest because I hope this shows you guys that being transgender, I would never choose this lifestyle. I did not choose to struggle like this. All of the struggles that I've been through and I'm still going through are just to feel comfortable with my fucking self, to feel comfortable in my fucking body. And it's so hard. It's so fucking hard. But I would do this shit all over again if I had to. I would do it all over again. But yeah, bottom surgery is not for the weak, babe. It's not for the weak. But at the end of the day, I know that I can get through it. I know it's all going to be worth it in the end. No matter how much pain I have to go through, it'll all be worth it just to be comfortable with myself. Yeah, I'll keep y'all updated. Hopefully I get scheduled for my surgery soon. But yeah, thanks for watching.
So I wish her luck. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be hard. And I mean, that thing about trans people, like, they go through a lot just to be comfortable with who they are. So, you know, I commend them for that. It's not an easy road, obviously. Let's go to our next one.
When did you get married?
I was like 26, 27 years old.
Would you suggest to anybody to get married that young?
Younger.
Huh?
I would suggest people get married younger.
Wow.
You know, America's the only country between the average age is 26 or 27 to 31. We the latest, which is why we mess up the worst. If we teach them, run through your 20s, you young, wait till 35. Well, he's running through women. Here go a man that don't know nothing about commitment. And then you expect him at 35 to be in a committed relationship? You expect him not to be looking all over the place where he been looking all over the place since he lost his virginity? No, that's not. You teaching an undisciplined person or undisciplined man. And then now you expect that marriage to work?
That's interesting take. I mean, yeah, this is a very interesting take. That's what I will say about that. Because yeah, marriage is that young. It's kind of like, who is really ready for marriage that young, honestly? But yeah, guys, where are we at on our time? We're kind of getting up there. I do want to give a brief update on the Shanquella Robinson. They have issued arrest warrants for one of the women over there. In their paperwork, they are still saying that it was femicide, and they're saying that the girl that fought her is a man. So I know a lot of people are disputing that, but in their papers over there, they are allegedly saying that that's a man. So it's interesting to have arrest warrants. The FBI would be looking for them. So we'll see. Hopefully they can get some justice. She can get some justice soon, because this is really sad. And like I said, that happened back in October, and we're getting ready to go into December and still nothing. So you guys stay safe. Tomorrow, I'm sure some craziness will happen and take place. I didn't even get to talk to you about Kanye and Trump having dinner and them getting mad at each other because Trump was like, Kanye, you know, was trying to run for president and he doesn't want him to. And yeah, it's a whole circus. Don't you love being a regular person and just watching from the outside looking in? I love it more and more every day. You guys stay safe out there. F is for Family is signing off.